welcome back to another video that I am going to be posting. I wanted to talk about a movie that I saw the other day. I watched with my brother, and it is called Kick-Ass. And I gotta tell you right now, this is a great film. This is a great film. And the reason why is just because the plot and the ideas behind it are so creative. So basically, what it's about is this kid. He wants to become a superhero. This kid wants to become a superhero, but he's just like a normal high school student. Or he orders the suit off the internet or something, and then he gets some weapons and stuff so he can actually be able to beat bad guys up and stuff. So, and it's such a creative plot because it's like a superhero movie, but if superheroes actually existed in real life. The character who Nicolas Cage plays, I don't even know what the heck his name is, but his daughter looks like a normal 11-year-old girl, but she's not. In one scene, she literally has a bulletproof vest, and then gets shot with a bullet, and then it just bounces off, just like Nicolas Cage swore was gonna happen. And it's creative, and it's also kind of whoever directed this movie has very creative mind, because I don't know how they could come up with something like this. A small local restaurant where these thugs, these gangsters are beating up on this guy. There's four of them, and they're all beating this one guy up because they're mad at him for an apparent reason. So, the main protagonist of the whole film, Kick-Ass, he goes up to the thugs and he starts beating up on them, but then they retaliate, and then it just evolves, and then it's this whole entire fight scene that takes place, and all the people in the restaurant are going up and recording him, and then all the people in the restaurant post it on social media all over the internet, and it goes super viral, and he becomes this local celebrity overnight. And it's so entertaining. Cinematography, it's so well done too, and the characters are so well written as well. So one of the kids' classmates is the son of a huge mob boss. A lot of henchmen and a lot of employees. And the whole place where he does all his dirty work is disguised as Frank's lumberyard or Frank's lumber factory or whatever. So that's his whole headquarters, or his warehouse where he does a lot of his dirty work happens. Where all that happens, it's disguised as a lumber factory when in reality it's not really that. So after the restaurant fight, Kick-Ass becomes a very famous superhero, kind of like a local celebrity in New York City, kind of. The mob boss ends up killing somebody dressed up as Kick-Ass, not actually him. He thinks it's him, and he shoots him, and he thinks he kills the Kick-Ass, Kick-Ass. He thinks he kills him, and he thinks he's the big man who's killing all his henchmen and stuff is dead finally. Now, earlier when I mentioned Nicolas Cage and his daughter, apparently, we get a whole backstory of Nicolas Cage's character, and he was framed by another cop, or framed by, I think, the henchman, I'm not sure, but at some point he was framed for selling illegal drugs, or possessing a ton of illegal drugs, or something like that. And he went to jail. Prison for many years. His wife died while giving birth to his daughter. So, yeah. Pretty sad story. Pretty sad backstory regarding him. And his apartment, for Nicolas Cage and his daughter, his apartment is full of guns and rocket launchers and bombs and knives and a whole bunch of weapons and stuff. So she's not an average 11-year-old girl. Nicolas Cage, he breaks into the factory, breaks into the mob boss's factory, burns it down, kills a whole bunch of his henchmen. And what happens next is this new guy. Now the son of the mob boss eventually becomes Red Mist, and he kind of is like a sidekick of Kick-Ass, a little bit for a short time. And then Red Mist kind of lures him into like a sting operation or some shit. And then what ends up happening is, the daughter ends up getting Nicolas Cage and his daughter and Kick-Ass all end up getting shot. All end up getting. After this, shit gets real. Nicolas Cage and Kick-Ass are both kidnapped, and all the henchmen They start a live stream, and they live stream. Oh, we are about to unmask Kick-Ass. We're about to have like the great unmasking of like of this superhero whose identity is secret. And instead of doing that, they beat the ever living shit out of him, and he would have died if. What's crazy, this is like one of the most action-packed craziest scenes of the whole entire film. Nicolas Cage's daughter ends up breaking into like the air wherever they're doing this. She breaks in, like shoots everybody and all of the henchmen and kills every single one of them. And it's violent. Like, this is a very violent movie. It's about it, and it's very inappropriate too. It's about as inappropriate and about as violent as Deadpool. Like, it's rated R. So yeah, and like. The henchmen are literally dropping like flies. But before all of this happened, like right before all of this happened, the henchmen kind of doused Nicolas Cage up with kerosene and then lit him on fire, lit the kerosene, like a big trail. They like poured a big trail of kerosene up to Nicolas Cage and like a path of it around him and lit it in hopes it would set him on fire and make him set him on fire and burn him to death, in which it did. Nicolas Cage dies. Nicolas Cage's character does die in this movie. She frees Kick-Ass. Kick-Ass survives. There is a sequel. I haven't watched it yet. There is a sequel. So yeah, they all get out free. And so Kick-Ass and Nicolas Cage's daughter, they get out. They go on, and then the final battle or the final act of the whole film comes. Like this, the climax. This is like right before the climax. They go to the mob boss's like headquarters, and she goes in and tricks the people at front by tricking them into thinking she's like a normal little girl or whatever, and she's like, "Oh, my mommy and daddy are lost." And then she fucking ambushes them, like ambushes the entire like headquarters, and then the best part, arguably the best sequence of the whole film happens here. So she infiltrates the entire mob boss's headquarters. And when she gets to the top building, there's a bunch of people like in the hallways crowded around trying to and she shoots like every single one of them, like open fires at them, and they all drop dead like flies. And then there's like one of the henchmen left. And he's like, "Oh, screw this. I'm getting the bazooka." And then she hides in like a kitchen cabinet. Kick-Ass gets a jetpack, like a jetpack with a Gatling gun strapped to it, and then flies up. And then what happens then is like he open fires on like the entire complex. And then kills pretty much everyone left. And the only people left is the mob boss and Red Mist. And the mob boss's son, Red Mist. And which, they go upstairs. Or Nicolas Cage's daughter goes upstairs. And mob boss nearly kills her and wins. And just as he's about to shoot her, like he beats her up. Slams her under the table. It collapses. And he's about to shoot her and unalive her, and which he almost did, but then Kick-Ass comes in at the last minute and ends up finishing him off. He literally shoots a bazooka at him and blows him up. It's pretty cool. So yes, and then Red Mist at the very end, the last thing you see, Red Mist is like, I want to avenge my father's death and everything, which kind of ends on a cliffhanger a little bit with Red Mist. So yeah, Did I miss anything?